was the biggest challenge in the negotiations? To keep the baseline of the truth. What happened? Who said what?
What I felt the greatest challenge was getting our union to understand that what we had is what we had.
Correct.
In other words, when Doug and I and the board members were on these there, we got our marching orders from the committee. As I said, we got our order. We knew what we had. We were given specific directives that, you got to work within this dollar amount. And the cap was the cap that we agreed to. I had that latitude and flexibility to negotiate within that small parameter. In negotiations in the past, superintendents in other districts, when the times were economically better, you had a much greater gap. You had more to offer than you could trade. So you had more to play with, for lack of a better word. The toughest part I felt in the negotiations was getting the union to understand our financial position. That what we had is what we had. We weren't playing games. We had the numbers were the numbers. And I think, in my opinion, that Doug was using, we spent a lot of time going over numbers and justifications, and that was the hardest part.
Relatively speaking, we're in much better shape financially when we're doing that. So,
that's my question.
This time.
The circumstances were completely different. I remember we spent, I don't know, Mrs. Black can pull up her archives and see how many papers were written when the statements were made that you have no authority to negotiate. How many times was this argument repeated? Well, if it's done in public and school committee negotiate this, there's no argument about who's negotiating. Obviously, this can be done differently because it can be done in the executive session and done by the school committee as opposed to delegating this to you.
No one has that authority. Plus the committee grants that.
Well, but we did that.
Right, and what I'm saying is,
there was
when
question.
you tell somebody, hey, look guys, I have the power to go into a tentative agreement with you. That's my power. Otherwise, I got to bring it all back.
Correct.
And getting people to understand that and believe you. I always used to, when I was on the other side, okay, you tell me that, maybe I was naive. I believed until I was shown otherwise, not to believe somebody. That's how I am as a person. I believe you until I found that unless you give me a reason not to. We produced all the documents. We produced everything. We were open. We published everything. The dollars were what they were, and I always said this: the easiest thing for the previous committee to do is to approve it.
Okay, now can I please speak?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Black, we neglect you.
Okay, that's okay. I'm very patient because I'm a teacher. I've been here since 2004. I've been going through my archives all weekend. It's been incredible. No one would want to relive that, but I had to just to be sure. Spoken to Michael Burke, this was his forte, was language and documents and legislation. That's what he was an expert at. So I spoke with him, and they voted on a contract. As you remember, Lisa Carroll left, and Michael Burke came on, was appointed by the town council. And then they voted it. He didn't vote the first night because he said he had to look it over and discuss it more. That's how he was. He was extremely thorough. Then they voted on that contract, 03 to 06, the 3-year contract. Then there was discussion, deliberation, signatures of everyone for a rollover for 07. Okay? So there's where we were. Now we came to Labor Day after, back and forth proposals from the teachers and from us, and saying this is the money we have, the parameters that Mr. Eric spoke of, not suing the town, not cutting programs, and of course I couldn't go above the cap and everything. Now, Mrs. Ruder and I have been going to the budget committee meetings for 5 years. I haven't missed one. I know the condition and the state of this town's budget. On the municipal, police, fire, everybody, and on us. We have done an exceptional job on both sides. We've laid people off, unfortunately. Those are people's lives. That's not a name. That's somebody who can't pay her mortgage or can't pay that tuition. It's dreadful to have to do, but we've done everything. This year we asked for 1.4 rate, everyone knows that, we cut every 2 weeks. We came before the budget committee in good faith and debated, and we got a little contentious at times, but that's what we did. And they voted, as we've said many times, to accept our budget. Then we go to the town meeting, and we all know what happened. We were cut. Okay, so this is what we need. We can't cut anymore, or we're going to destroy the district. We're high performing, it's a very fine network, there's wonderful people that work so hard. And when you start taking away programs and taking away money and doing all this, we don't have a business program the way we used to, things like that. People don't know. It's been cut away. But anyway, we say, this is what we need to function. Please give it to us. We've been fair, we've been honest with you, we've come here, and the answer was no, we don't care. And the money is taken away. So here we are now. We meet on Labor Day of '07, huge meeting. We're all in here and the chiefs are out there, and it would have been so easy to raise our hands and say, give them what they're asking for. Because we don't need this fight. We know what was coming. And we were so close. We all understood. We said, this is our town, this is our district. The teachers, the parents, the administration, the school committee, we all have to come in this together. We can't be fractured, because if we're fractured, what does it look like out there? And no wonder people aren't going to vote for it. It was very close, and then someone came in, and everything went the other way, and the vote was no, and we know the rest of the story. But it would have been really easy that day to just say, it's not that bad, we don't have the money, we'll try to find it, we'll try to work it out. Maybe that's what happens in a lot of other districts, and then they end up millions of dollars in debt. So that was the story. Now, as far as what's happening now, I'm always a person of great hope and great trust. And I hope that we can resolve this together with the negotiating team, and whoever's on our team, all together for the district and for the children, because I agree with Mr. Wright, the children are the casualties in this. They're the ones that miss out. I implored them to lift the contract compliance because kids were missing out and there were no reruns, and if you're senior or junior, they'll never get that back. It's not us. The parents lose a little, but the kids lose it forever. So anyway, the answer to that, was no. There was other things involved I don't want to. I gave my whole folder to someone, but I had to leave some things out because they involve such things I don't even want to discuss again and talk about. It was too horrible. But as Mr. Burgundy says, we came in good faith. We said, this time, let's come together. Because the last time the complaint was we didn't respect the teachers, we didn't come to the table. This time, Mr. Burgundy and I came, we sat. As I said before, it was very respectful. We talked about the state of the country, the state, the town, people without jobs, getting laid off, never mind the reduction in pay, and how we had to unite again and come forward and show the town in good faith that this is what we're going to do. And then we got that email that said, we'll accept the contract. I said, what contract? There is no contract. It was an arbitrator's award till August of '09, and that's what I raised my hand for and voted for, because as you see with Section 11, as you mentioned, of A, it'll be 7 days prior to the final vote and all that. We all know that. You have to allow the public to question and comments. Of course they have a right to public. They're paying the bill. The taxpayer has a right to see what we're going to pay. If we were going to roll that over and everything, we would have had to discuss it with them, tell the people we don't have that money. Our own lawyer told us if we voted for that, would be liable because the money's not there. We can't deficit spend, and we're still saying we don't care, we'll just raise our hands anyway. So, but I think, and I hope that we could meet with the negotiating team and come out with something that's reasonable and fair. I understand all the feelings on this board, but I still would like to start it off in private and try to come to a sensible conclusion. But I would not like to have the embargo that we had last time when we couldn't speak, we couldn't say what our offers were, because then everything was so confusing. When we were saying this last time, ours was very fair, nobody lost, but then they said, oh, you can't talk about it. And as I said, if I had put duct tape in front of my mouth, I think everything should be out. We said this, they said no, they said this. That part I think should be in the open because the taxpayers have a right to hear.